What's up, guys? This is Alistair, and what we're gonna call a segment called Headspace. And this is the first week without Andor around, fulfilling our lives and aspirations of life. And I didn't really know what to do. I had it like in my week's routine. I guess it's been 2 weeks, but first week without a holiday, chopping it up, and I really, I really miss it. I almost want to say, but just having those face like register and almost like it was someone coming and visiting, but it's really good. It left me wanting to know the story, but not like wanting more, like in an anxious way. It's cool to be like, oh yeah, I gotta have it now, but like, as old as I am now, it's like, I think I could space it out, but I didn't not watch one when it premiered. Of course, I did that thing where I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try to call this or that, but after like the heist started, I stopped that whole thing. I was thinking that there'd be like a Ocean's 11 like takeout crew. Like I doubt that's like the right terminology, but I'll go about this as if you already have the general gist of it. But yeah, uh, Cassian Andor, we follow him throughout as our rogue cowboy almost, maybe wanderer. Comes with a hard life story and also a few different things that would only be for previous like generations, but are brought to light through this story. I like the whole outlaw thing, but that's more like scrounging for what you could from what you have available. But really, it's like no higher or lower class than what it is. Like if you really just kind of let yourself relate all these characters to somebody, just because your house or something like that doesn't mean you're not going through it all. And even with the amount of freedom with the Juan Machma in mind and Luthen, the buyer, and the senator, they have all the free space to do anything else. So that's what they're doing. I'm sure there's like other people like in that same position doing what they would do in a society that was brought them up the exact same way. But we're following these guys and women, maybe gals, if that's the same G word for. Even at the end, there's like a pipe bomb kid to jump way over there. That could have been like a young Cassian. or young mimic. Either way, you can see the reflection of life despite the quality anywhere you look, if you are really open to it. To reset the mood or reiterate it, I suppose. Um, I'm trying to find in my head just like what stuck out to me the most, but I suppose that's the start of it. Despite all the spacey things like the scrapping and the laser guns and like the brothel and a number of other things like the jungle, it's Star Wars, yeah, or a space odyssey, I think some people would say, in the way where there's not really much character interaction that would be like significantly different from anybody from real life or like between the Jedi even. But they're not mentioned, and I'm not heard about it at all. The Jedi, it has me absorbed in a way to where I have to like stop myself and be like, oh yeah, there was that little projector droid, that little red guy that looks like a bunch of projectors stacked up. But yeah, and like the droid, while I'm mentioning it, is like a little, not even like a name brand like astromech or anything, or like a, I think protocol droid, the CP3 one, or the security droids that it it's like almost very generic, but it's like the only one. I just sometimes I wonder, like I could kind of like infer a little bit that it's like, oh, someone really had that fixation on like projectors, so they made it into a cool thing for maybe they just had it off to the side, maybe not intending it for be on Star Wars. If people still do that, it's like, yeah, I had this really cool idea for a costume or this prop, and now's the time to bust it out. Trying to show off a craft for their skills. Maybe like there was a prompt before they did it. There looked like a fun story that you could like try to connect things to. And then like the setting, I'm not sure if it was like because of the director or the actor, so that's what they had available, or if that was like all the rage in vacations or the previous stage before it's like a new like vacation spot. It's like, oh yeah, let's all go there. Like depending on if you're a certain person, like, there's like the study abroad, the business people, the vacationers, just like the nomadic people. But it's like it's not really like a desert. Like Ferrix is like a stone planet or something. Just because like whenever Luthen's like riding in, it kind of looks like the inside of a cave, but like obviously there's all the like, spikes. But that was probably the fantasy one, along with just like doing up something in someone's like perspective. Like, yeah, this is a desert, but like if you just like look in that spot right there where our feet are, because we're working, it's this place now. Like I've overwritten this in your mind, I hope. with my creation. Like it's pretty cool. Like when you're following along the characters, it's like you're being them so much. It's like you want what they want. I don't know what suggested mood you really have to be in, but it's like, yeah, each scene is just like they're just like presenting themselves instead of just like saying their names. That's why like I kind of kind of overlook some people's names until like it's like yeah, Cassian, look at him, like look at that guy and his blaster. I mean, if you really look at all the characters, they're like pretty normal. Like it's not like blazing like oh like how is this like person like all this and like and a bag of chips in the face and they're acting. It's like the pretty clothes models finally gave us all a chance to make something cool. Although some, I guess I'm saying rather that no one's like dominating the whole story. Like the first three was like, oh, these are the adults or the young adults of our time, like the fourth through sixth ones, and then the first through third ones were like, oh yeah, this is like the students coming into their own a little bit. But then the seventh through ninth ones were like just like the remnants of those two trilogies. It kind of like seemed like accessory heavy for some reason. Like, oh, don't forget your staff, Ray. Or here's your helmet, Kylo. Super picks to the artifacts of and advances of what came before you. But like, this is like the footing of all that stuff. Like, the glue that you would know is necessary because of people like this. The shoulder of the giants, but only so far as the giant is just this repeated type of person in a sort of visual metaphor instead of having like a million of this kind of person, just one giant across their shoulders. It's just really character heavy. I like it. Of course, I can't get over Cassian, and then like the one that surprised me was Mon Mothra. But then, of course, Luthen was supposed to be one of those, but is for me. It's like, what's gonna go on with Luthen? I haven't even like seen like where he like sleeps or lives. Like, you seen his like little antique shop with little totems of his travels. I would imagine another big leap, but the little Sith Stalker thing, the little other stuff, stone things, the random, untranslated, unknown museum piece, I would say, I guess. Just because it's Lucian and like the fact that he has that awesome ship, I doubt he just like bought it from someone and put it on the shelf to sell to other people that don't seem to go out very much. I've seen a few like old birds do that, just having a lot of stuff from their travels. But then there's like the other people with just like variety or like them just like showing their moods. It's really a different other thing. I personally go for like feng shui. It's kind of like what flows the best from day to day, I suppose. I need some things on my wall. And then Mon Mothma was just like, oh my gosh, this is like probably the furthest away from me, like in societal norms, I would think. Like, although, like I hear sometimes it's not like that all the time, but she like hates being at her house unless she's like double dealing or double dipping. And I'm sure she sleeps like a goddess of some sort. But if she's like at home with someone else, she's gotta be doing something. Has to do with other people, because maybe the Senate or whatever, but her very existence just seeds action. It made me think I might like other things like that, like House of Cards or Veep, maybe. And I've seen like one or two episodes of either of those, but I didn't really have myself bring it back to them, where like the main suspended disbelief is like the role that person's in, or the just job. I like the full fantasy mode, and I struggle with it being okay and me trying to branch out in life. It's not like affecting anybody or outside life like that, so I have no real need to fix it. I hope it keeps going. Like more than like two seasons, even. I know there's gonna be a second one, but this is the only one that where they can like keep going without like, oh, okay, well they look too different now, like from like when they're in the movie, and there's like no way they're just gonna like shoehorn like, oh, like they're alive, like it would just make the movie like dumb. And obviously, it's like a work of art that was inspired by people and building upon the old Star Wars, which at points to me before the Senate was even like mentioned seemed like a really long how to like on politics or like be an ambassador or something like this. Like those like really white people on the Safari and like Discovery Channel, just hanging out with all these people in a tribe somewhere. Like it may be like in black and white. I always think like certain movies are like a scheme to like give some props to like other people like or honors like it's just kind of like in the background being the glue to like life. It's like, hey guy that made this research thing, so like we have this uh cool like piece of technology. Throw it up. Here you go. Like, we'll make it look like a prison because like jobs, guys, are right. Like, and it's the prison in the with all those like random parts like we don't know what it was for the whole time. So yeah, I know this is like way too fancy for a prison, but like, hey, remember when you used to work there? Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I love you, buddy. Yeah, yeah. I see you too, man. I see you. It just makes you wonder, even though like I'm saying that like broadly, like I'm wondering right now, like what do they do like most of the year? Like it can't be like not to take away from it like that extensive. Like they have some good planning. Like what are all these actors and writers doing the whole year? They gotta have some non-actor friends, right? Maybe like own like a place in the mall or something. Touching some vases somewhere in like some other important people's houses, or they're all just standing around wondering why they even have that there. It's old. I don't know. You tell them to move it. Like That's why I don't stand in here. I'd rather I I'd rather make my own house than like stand in here for too long. You know what? I'm gonna make I'm gonna make a set, and then after I make the movie, I'm gonna make this my house. I'm sure that'll bring up property value. What do they do with those really? It can't be all for amusement parks. Maybe I'll get into it later, but that's pretty much all. Well, oh, yeah, well, then there's like Lutheran's ship though. It's like the other thing that stuck out with me. It's like that was awesome. Just like the whole like setup. It looks like fun to like live in and fly in. He's got this little thing like in that one scene where he's like changing like his demeanor. It just makes me like make up a whole like backstory about like why that they even put that in there. Like even as like writers, it's just like yeah, like hey you know Grandpops? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear he goes around making deals with people so we can live kind of cushy. And he's like a little judgy about us about it and trying to teach us stuff, right? Right, right. I hear he's trying to take down the old hierarchy of the, you know, vague institution. Oh, dang, yeah, like, don't they, like, run stuff here? It's like, no, that's what they want you to think. That's all grandpops. Meanwhile, he's just like semi-truck driving somewhere, being a good conversation somewhere when he, like, sees some people talking, sitting in some Denny somewhere, like, after he's done with his route. It's like, you don't say, you do what now, young man? Oh, I don't know about all that, but you probably shouldn't tell people that you're like the governor's like husband or whatever you call it. And then like the surrounding booths that Denny's just like overhear this and like he's like walking out and everyone's like memorizing his like both their faces. Like that little like tram Lupin takes in is what really brings that up for me. That random old guy with the mustache talking to him in the thing. Ah, I've got you paid. I know exactly what you do. Don't say a thing. Just let me get my licks in, or my suggestions for you to coach. You know what I'm saying? I am not the coach of a baseball team. Ah, yes. That's what they all say. Like Luthen's just like this kind of guy where everyone has an assumption about him and they're all wrong. But later, like they all meet and like confer and like smash up a whole story together. And there's just this like really funny joke when he's like putting on his rings and like, first getting to see his antique shop. Like for all I know, like Luthen's like still discovering life. Like he's like a 5-year-old, but like everyone's got this like holy age, like reckoning and penance for him going. Like and like when you do hear him talk, it's like all out of context. Just knowing people like that and just like sometimes like when I like would go out a lot of the times like and not hear about it then some other days like I did what now? Oh, that's crazy. Did did I look mad? Oh, I look happy. So I was having fun. Like, oh yeah, no, must have been exactly what you said. Like, but like the third perspective of him is just like what it is on Andor. Maybe it's just too intense for me, but I don't know if it was the actor or like whoever wrote him, but he's like looks like there was some dog fighting in his blood. Like it's like like that last part where he's like It's like, oh damn, you know what that looks like to me? Like all those like planes, and there's like a gunner in the back. It's like, oh, I shouldn't have been shooting straight that whole time. I should just like fire and did this like barrel roll. I was like, is that where all these barrel roll references came out? I bet all the kids that are like probably older than me now like had some like really cool like stories about flying in planes like that. He's like gets the tractor beam cut off. "Ooh, I had something ready for this. And then I had this all thought out. Maybe I am a coach. I doubt he was like his character would have thought about that, but then like the two ships come up behind him. He's like turns the lasers on, and everyone's like, oh, "What is he doing with that? Like I thought he was gonna shoot some missiles or something." He was like the most coordinated in this space right there. Turns on his like perpendicular lasers, does a barrel roll, and like whips all these like youngins like faces off. Uh, drop into hyperspace. Yeah. Yeah. Before it gets too long, that was Headspace. Yeah. Hope you liked it. Subscribe and whatnot.